All right, so for updates number 2 and 3, they kind of go hand in hand. Your power steering, if I have the power steering off right now, if I steer it, everything's pretty smooth in both directions. There's no like binding or anything. So that tells me your linkages are all good. Plus you probably don't have any air in your lines at all. If I go ahead and kick the pump on, you can hear them run. Everything's smooth there too, which tells me that, you know, like I said, there's no binding or anything. What you just watched me do just now with the pump on, I did that like 20 to 30 times, just over and over and over again, as fast as I could, to try and overheat the circuit and see if I couldn't pop that breaker again, and I couldn't get it to do it. So that tells me that there's nothing causing the pump to, you know, work too hard and have too high of an amp draw, you know, overheat and cause that breaker to pop. So I was thinking maybe that there's a short somewhere in the wiring. So I checked all your wires back here. It jumps off this battery switch, runs to that breaker, runs over there to that gray conduit, and then the ground wire comes off that bus bar right there. I wiggled those wires around. I felt all the wires to see if there's any like exposure, like if they were rubbing on metal and, you know, the rubber wore off, and there aren't any shorts in there. So your wiring's good in there. So I came back here to where your pump is, and first thing I noticed was this giant puddle of water in your submerged bilge pump and float switch. As you can see, that float switch is floated and that bilge pump is not running. And this is your power steering pump right here. You can see it looks pretty crusty, super rusty and oxidized. I'm assuming, my best guess is what happened is all this water in this bilge while you were running sloshed up, hit that pump, and like soaked into the pump somehow through a seal that is rusted out. And you know, the internal wiring got shorted out by some water and popped that breaker. So I would say you should probably go ahead and replace this pump. That should fix that problem. You shouldn't have that breaker popping anymore. Then those bilges, they won't cut on with these switches. You aren't getting lights or anything. And I noticed these two breakers were popped. They're not right now, but when I first got here, I would push those in and then they'd pop out, and I'd push them in again and they'd pop back out. They're not popping out anymore, but your pumps still aren't running. So I'm assuming there's another breaker or fuse or something that's popped somewhere. But yeah, those float switches, there's that one back there. And then this bilge up here. Down in there, as you can see, that one is also submerged in water, and the float switch is floated up. You can't really tell on that, but that float switch is kicked up too. So those two pumps are bad. That's why they keep tripping the breakers every time I pop them in. So you're going to want to replace both of those pumps at the bare minimum. It's good practice to replace the pumps and the float switches at the same time, just to go ahead and get it done. But yeah, that should cover just about everything. By the way, I would call that an emergency, because you don't have any working bilge pumps on your boat right now, and you're getting a lot of water in here. There's no leaks right now, it's just rainwater from what I can tell, but if you did spring a leak, it wouldn't be good. So yeah, bilge pumps, float switches, power steering pump, and chart plotter, and that should cover everything.